Good morning. Well, today the Gooseneck just arrived, the tablet holder, and the Gooseneck is only about 20 inches long, which is what is advertised. It's got a metal clamp with a adjustment here that'll open up to almost 2 inches, so that'll work out good. It also has this tablet holder. Now this is supposed to hold a 7 to 10 inch tablet, which is a lot of BS because even my 7-inch tablet would not fit here, but I didn't buy it for that. I bought it to put a camera on the end of this. Now this is adjustable, like that, and like this. So the length of it is fine, but the width is no good for a tablet. It's only about 3 inches from the yellow to the yellow. In other words, the width. The width does not go out anymore. It's fixed. So we're going to modify that. Now originally I was going to take a piece of wood and cut it and fit it in between here, and I was going to just bring these things down like that. Like that. That's as close as they'll go. I was going to take a piece of wood and just, cut it out to fit it in here and then put the camera onto that. Naturally, this is going to be up on the beam overhead in the shop. I figured I'd photograph out here. It'd be a little better lighting maybe. And then this thing will be hanging down like this. Let me get this out of the way here. This will be hanging down like this. But I still have to make the rig so that the camera can be mounted on the so there'd be a way of mounting the camera on the end of this. I'll figure something out, but we got a defect. I'm going to show you. We'll get the magnifying glass out. We got a defect right there. There's a burr. See that little round thing right there? There's a burr on this. It's very rough. I got to take and file it. It's just a bad spot here. There's Chinese things there. They throw them together any old way. So what this ball does is this ball goes in here like this. And you see these little fingers on there? I think I'm in view with the camera. Of course, I don't have my reading glasses on, so I'm guessing. But I think the magnifier is centered on that. See them little fingers? Well, you put this ring on first. Slide it on the stem. And then you push this down. I'm not going to do that now, and it snaps into this holder. So this is a little holder, so it can spin around. But we got to file this burr off on this ball here first. That's not a big job, it's just rough. And it could dig into the plastic and ruin it if I don't do that. So I'm going to do that right now. I'll do that off camera. Okay, I took the burr off. The magnifier is all scratched up because it's in my pocket with my keys and change and everything. So it's pretty beat up. But I got the burr off of that. It's pretty smooth now, so it won't chew up my plastic. So as you can see how that goes around like that? That gives me enough angle, but we got to cut this stuff off, but I don't know how far to cut it off yet, so I don't want to get ahead of myself here, because I don't want this thing getting in my face when I'm working on this. I want the length of the camera, but I don't want this thing to be sticking out any further than the camera. So we'll work on that. But when you put this piece up, you screw this piece back up here. Okay, I got it. Now you see how that works? That works really well. That works really well. So it's going to be, it's designed to go this way for a tablet on the edge of a bench or a desk or whatever. But we'll bring it inside the shop here and we'll see how far it hangs down. Now if you look here, the way this clamp is made, this will take almost a 2-inch, I guess, thickness. So in reality, it'll take a 2x4. I go up here and, oh yeah, plenty. That's 1.5 inches. This thing will open up 2 inches or maybe a little bit more. So what I'm going to have, I could use the conduit idea. Like I said, it was going to be, if you've been listening to and watching my videos, one of my ideas was to take a piece of conduit 5 foot long. The shed is 6 foot width, 7 feet long the other way, and fasten this on it so that I can move it back and forth like this. But as you can plainly see, this is not designed to be mounted on a round piece of stock. It's made to be on a square piece of stock. So my other option is to use a 2x2, which is 1.5 inches by 1.5 inches, and do the same thing. 5 foot long. All I'll do is take the chop saw and I'll put an I think it's a 10-degree angle on it, because that's what these trusses are here. These rafters are at a 10-degree angle. So I'll put a taper on each end of it, 5 foot long, and then I'll just screw it into the at each end, and it'll be a 2x2 going across here. Then I'll be able to mount this. Now, as you can see, I'm going to be cranking this down to 1.5 inches. Okay? Now this is made to be run this way. You know, in other words, this clamp is supposed to be facing down. So we're modifying this. So we're going up here. So when we get down to here, we're going to be digging into our insulation with this. So you have to allow for everything. You know, my mind is constantly, the gray matter's constantly churning. It keeps me young, I guess. And say, well, geez, you know, wait a minute, I can't do that because of this. So I may not be able to come down any further than here. So I need to be way over here with the camera, let's say, over to the extreme right. I might not be able to do it. By the same token, nothing's to prevent me from taking this thing, clamping it up here on this shelf, which I got to open this clamp up here a little bit. I'm letting this wood set. We clamp it here down at the further end. Once I get these clamps off of here, I'm going to let this sit for another day. It's not even 24 hours since I did this. And I can have my mount over here. So there's not a problem. If you notice, the stock on this is much thicker than this camera. This is about the thickness of an entertainer's microphone gooseneck. Microphone gooseneck here material. It's about a 1/2 inch, maybe 5/8 in outside diameter. So there's nothing to prevent me from mounting this on the 2x4 here. Again, shortening this thing up and putting the camera here, so that I'm not only restricted to the the one overhead. It's true I can go right to the beam here, but I'm way up here. So that's not a good option. So what I have to do is extend this. I was looking on eBay, and this is about the only thing in my price range. This cost a little under $12, 11 and change. I'll give you a link to it in case any of you out there want to buy something like this. Just remember that this ball here may have a burr on it, and if you don't file that burr off with a fine-tooth file, you're going to chew up the socket in here in time. It's only plastic, and the ball is metal. The ball comes already mounted on the gooseneck. And on this end, I just screwed this on. This has threads on it that goes inside here. So this gooseneck is 20 inches long. Not counting this and not counting this. Just the gooseneck from here to here is 20 inches. So even when I'm mounted here on the horizontal 2x2, I'm way the hell up here. I'm about a foot and a half off the bench. I'll tell you exactly how far I'm off the bench. We'll see what the ruler is. If I can get this ruler to cooperate here and sit here. 16 inches. I got the ruler set at 16 inches. That's just about it. I figured that was pretty close, huh? Foot and a half. So 16 inches, a little less than a foot and a half off the bench. That's too high. But you got to remember, I'm going to be coming down with the camera here over, and this is going to be sitting in this area on the same plane as this. In other words, the camera's not going to be over here. The camera's going to be sitting in the middle, coming down. So there'll be a bracket coming down, and it'll enable the camera to sit down here. So if we're using the Kodak, I'm estimating the Kodak to be about 5 inches, I'm guessing, tall. So I have to allow for the Kodak. The Samsung F40 is smaller, so I have to allow for the tallest camera. The Kodak sits vertically. Some cameras sit horizontally like this. The Kodak sits vertically, so I got to allow for that. So the fact that I got the camera down here lower, I may not have to extend this here. That'll get me lower if I want to be lower, or if I want to be higher, I can bring it way over here to these other shelves, or to this shelf. Once these clamps are out of here, I'm going to leave this, like I say, I'm going to leave this for another day. So I think this will be quite versatile. So I'm not going to do anything with this today. This is just a rundown video and showing you, because I got to wait until this is totally dry. Now, I was thinking of maybe getting a piece of stock and gluing it good and tacking it in with some nails going across the front of this as an added precaution. So I think if the wood is solid enough with glue and everything else, that it won't warp at all. But I'm not sure. I might leave it that way and wait. But I gotta let another day go by, let this dry, and then I can work on this overhead here. I just took another measurement, and I come up with 4 feet instead of 5. because 5 would be way over here. You got to remember this building is 6 foot wide, so you got 3.5 inches on the 2x here, and that's the total width of it. So I come here with it. This is from this point here to just in front of this speaker here, right here. This is the useful area that I can slide this thing onto. So 4 feet is plenty. This light is 4 feet long, so I could probably make it 4.5 feet. So it would come out and it would give me some area where I can put the clamp on it without having to go too far in here, if you know what I'm saying. These are all, I'm thinking out loud, because everything in this shop here, or anything I do, there's a lot of thought going into it. Sometimes I'll rush into something and I'll be sorry later because I could have done it a better way. All right. So right now, that's going to be the next project. But like I say, I got to wait for this thing to be totally, the glue's totally dried. And then I can make up this setup and then figure out exactly how I want to do the camera. The Kodak, I measured it. It's not as tall as I thought. It's a little over 4 inches, about 4 1/4, 4 1/2, thereabouts. But you have to allow for the this thing to sit in there, and I have to allow for, let's see, F40 Samsung, which is not a great quality camera, but it allows me to zoom. Now, this camera can sit now, again, the mounts are on the bottom, as you very well know. Only ones that have the mounts on the top are like your security cameras and stuff. So there's going to be a same kind of an arrangement. So that'll sit like that. And you loosen this nut and you can swing this around and tighten it. When I'm doing videos, I'll pause the video and then move the camera and then get another shot. That'll give a better, smoother transaction in the video. Or I can edit it out, not a problem. So I got to allow for a camera of this size and of course the tall Kodak and any other camera that I may get in here. So I don't want to make it too long. I don't want it way down here. So I'll either make a square frame and put this mount in the middle of it, or come down like this, and come over here like that. In other words, a C shape or a G shape, however you want to call it, and mount this here. This will have to be metal, not a problem. I can get that at my local hardware store. I don't need 1/4 inch, of course. Probably 1/8 inch, even less than that. I might be able to get a small piece of aluminum, or I might even have something around the shop here in the old shed where I can mount it. When I got this, it came with great big washers that fit the size of these things here. And they look like, I just quickly checked them, they seem to be rubber. So they, I guess they're self-adhesive, they're supposed to stick on here and here. So instead of using that there, I can cut them down and use, I got to build this up with rubber because, as I said, this sticks out too far. And you don't want to damage your camera. So, anyhow, we'll set that here. And we'll do the construction of that project in a future video. Until then, this is the Blind Tinkerer, better known as the old 64 Goat. Thanks for watching, and have a good day.